That's true.
All of us together. Yes.
Okay, I'm calling this to order. Roll call. Roll call.
Arnold,
Here.
Beckwith,
Here.
Farcapisi. Here. Kotsinis,
Here.
Linsdau,
Here.
Sutton, absent. We have a quorum.
Okay. I nominate Catherine Arnold to be our Secretary Pro Tem. Who would like to second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. All right. You're it. Pledge.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Would anyone like to speak in public comment? Okay, any correspondence?
No.
Okay. All right, we're on to the consent agenda. Anyone want to take anything off? Okay, who would like to make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay. Okay, President's Report, page 22. Anything on that? Okay, who else has a report? Okay, you're up.
All right. Yeah, so, well, and the next agenda item has to do with library operations and talking about the mask requirements. But yeah, I think that just the big thing to point out is summer reading. So we're already at 100,000 minutes. So if you look at in the lobby, we have that beautiful barometer of that Eric and our communications team put together. So yeah, that's the thing. We're starting to get a little bit busier each week. So I think with summer reading that's helping, and the COVID numbers being down, so we're starting to get a little busier, slowly but surely.
Anything else?
Have you guys seen that barometer temperature thing? It's amazing. It is,
amazing, yeah.
I was wondering, did it come like prefab from the reading program? And when I was told that staff made it, I was just really impressed. It's really cool.
Yeah, we'll pass the line on to Eric. Yeah, he did an amazing job. Yeah, he's just very talented. So, yeah, the Hendrix display that was there for a long time. Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay,
Oh, yeah, the letters.
operations.
Yeah, so we, after the board indicated that we wanted to go back to our normal hours, meeting with the team, as you've probably seen, we're going for that Monday, the 21st. It just wasn't possible with our some of our staffing limitations and everything. We had to get ready for us to do it sooner. So I think that was a good reaction to the transition to phase 5, all things considered. So we'll go back to our full hours on the 21st. We're excited about that. We're gonna talk to the management team tomorrow about what other services we may be able to reintroduce, if any. I think we're gonna kind of slowly roll out things again. That's our approach to react to what we think is safe and what the community's asking for. I think the big question tonight is what to do about the mask mandate. This is a question the board has discussed past several meetings every couple of weeks. So OSHA came out with some new guidelines, and basically what OSHA is saying is that there are no extra steps needed to protect fully vaccinated staff, and the way that those guidelines define that would be those that are 2 weeks away after their final dose, whether it's J&J, Moderna, Pfizer. I think with Moderna, they say that it's actually 3 weeks after the second dosage you're fully vaccinated, but according to the guidelines, it's 2 weeks for all of them, the way I understand it. In any event, so what they are recommending is that, that staff, well, first of all, that those that are unvaccinated and at-risk employees should continue to wear masks, and those employees that are vaccinated, if they choose to, they can remove their masks. So with these OSHA guidelines and looking at the COVID numbers, what I'd like to suggest to the board is the following. First of all, for our staff, to allow staff that are fully vaccinated to go without masks in staff-only areas. On the floor, to have staff, when they're dealing with the public spaces, still have staff wear masks. And unvaccinated staff would still be required to wear masks in all areas. Patrons that are, and this is the honor system, patrons that are vaccinated can use the library without masks. Those patrons that are unvaccinated, once again, it's the honor system, would need to wear masks. We would want to keep the mask requirements in place for patrons in youth areas, so Cocos Cove, the Point, the Vault, and am I missing anything? I think that generally covers it. I was in a phone call or a Zoom meeting with some other area library directors yesterday, and I think there were 25 people in there. And I asked what people were doing with their masks, and we were one of just a handful of libraries that were still having our mask requirements in place for patrons. So I think now, looking at the data, it is time to take that step. I know that a couple weeks ago, the board was still thinking, well, for a while, let's protect our youngest patrons, but I think this is probably the right balance of keeping patrons safe and hopefully having it comfortable for families to come in with masks. Then so it kind of appeases everybody, I think. Interestingly enough, at Palatine, they did this and they kept their mask requirement in place in youth areas, and there was so much feedback from patrons that they wanted their kids to be able to come to the library without masks that they actually said, okay, you don't have to have masks in youth areas. I don't think we should take that step at this time, but it's interesting that public opinion kind of swayed them to change their guidelines, what they were doing at the Palatine Library. So I think that's the right step at this point. I don't know how the board feels. I know the board felt pretty solidly with keeping the mask mandate a few weeks ago, and it's ultimately whatever the board guides us to do, we'll do. But that's what I'm thinking we should do. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I agree, but I'd like to hear from Catherine, if you have an opinion on, not that you're the speaker for everybody with young children, but just your own personal opinion, if you care to share it with us, on the youth area, because I am feeling that a need to protect our youngest patrons, but I would like to be led by science, and I know you're a scientist type person.
I agree too. I think it's the right move. My children are in a daycare summer camp, and they're required to wear masks. But I think it'll kind of be changing, and I do see it relaxing a little bit. So I wouldn't be concerned to bring them in with masks or without masks at this point. I think it makes sense though to keep it with the masks for now, and to then maybe kind of see what the summer brings. But, my children are healthy, so if your children are at risk, I would be worried about. So I could see why you would want that for some.
I particularly children at risk, you're right, but, we've agreed to revisit it, the twice a month. We won't be getting back together for a month. So is there a way in between now and our next board meeting, if you feel that there's a change, that we could get together on a short Zoom call? Are we still allowed to have a Zoom call? And then, or is this something you can change that you don't need board approval for? You just are asking us for advice, and you as the director have the ability to,
Yeah, the way the policy is right now for public contact is it's whatever safety measures we have in place. So I think it's ambiguous enough where we could make that call. But we could also have a special meeting as well. We'd have to post notice, but the board could have a special meeting in between now and the July regular board meeting. Well, a couple things I didn't mention. Rebecca Raleigh, who's our head of youth services, I asked her about this today. I said, what kind of feedback are you getting from the public? And she said, honestly, it's going to be divided in our community. There are going to be some parents that will be thrilled that they don't have to, have masks on their children themselves when they sit well in the youth area, but it's long story short, it's mixed. There are some parents that don't feel their kids need to have masks coming in. There are some parents that do. At the and this was outdoors, but at the outdoor storytime event we had at Betty Russell Park last week, there was, I guess there were only a handful of families that came with masks in the first place. We asked them to, as the board saw that, to come with masks until you get in your place, but a lot of people, didn't even bring masks with them. So I think that's starting to be, I don't know. Everyone's a little bit different about it, right? Felix Rosales, our security supervisor, indicated to me starting on Monday, he was getting a lot more patrons asking about when are we going to be able to come in without wearing a mask? You're the only place in the community that's asking us to do this. I know even at the senior center now, they the signage, I guess, Jessica Stalker, who does the book groups over there, said the signage was, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, but even if you're unvaccinated, it's optional is what the signage was over there, which surprised me. That's what she told me. So anyway, it just seems that even if we felt strongly that we need to keep the mask mandate in place for all our patrons, it's going to be a real challenge for staff, particularly the security team, to kind of sustain that, because if we're the only place in town that's doing it, not that I think that, if we feel strongly that that's the way to keep everyone safe, we should do it, but I think the data illustrates right now with COVID numbers being so low that I think it's pretty safe for people to come in the library without a mask. But once again, maybe the board feels differently, so.
I did check the numbers before we started today, actually. And yeah, the numbers are looking very good, at least in areas that have high vaccine rates.
Are we one of those areas?
Yeah. Gurney is actually trending a little bit above the county baseline, just from the numbers that I saw right before I came. So I think it might be beneficial to give it to the end of the month and then implement those changes, assuming trend lines keep going where they're going. But that's
Should
just
we
my
do it
opinion.
with the grand opening on the summer solstice? Full hours?
On the 21st? That's what you were proposing, right? Right.
Oh, I wasn't sure. I think that's logical to do it on the 21st. But because once again, I think the longer we wait, I just think it's going to get, there's going to be more and more pressure on staff, and honestly, it's a hard argument to make for staff when the numbers are so low, and the majority of people feel comfortable. But that said, there are those people that we need to advocate for that are at risk. That we in fact we received you've forwarded this email to me. I'm not sure who received it originally.
It was actually the woman came in and she took her husband out to the elderly woman, took her husband back out, they were here, went out, put him in the car and came back in, and she just was all over the place with one of the clerks saying, I just want to tell you this is the only place I can take my husband who's just so amazing. And he doesn't get out at all, and now we can still come to the library, so thank you very much. He's immunocompromised, and he's had the vaccine, but it doesn't seem to be working for him, so she was just confused.
Right. I guess the county argument to that would be that for someone that is immunocompromised, we have an outreach team that can deliver library materials. So it's admittedly a tough decision.
Can we allow immunocompromised people to sit in the children's area? And, I would like to see that so that he could still come to the library, at least while we still have the youth area. And it's a two-part question. So there's that, because I do have a dear friend who's immunocompromised. And, you can say home delivery, but they still want to join society like everybody
Sure.
else. Would we delineate the area with tape or, some way on where the line is for the youth area that people have to have their masks on over that point?
Yeah, that's something we'll have to figure out. Honestly, I'm sure we'll creatively figure that out. I don't think we have a plan in place right now, though. That's why it probably would make sense to wait until at least the 21st. I mean, I think the 21st makes a lot of sense, because that's when we resume our normal hours. Then it's just a kind of a good, and it gives us a little bit of time to get the signage made and promote it. I know it's
Yeah, it's
Monday, but
Monday.
give a little bit, a little bit of time.
My suggestion, though, rather than having it be the youth area, let's be realistic.
What about a study room or something?
Yeah.
Could you do that?
Well, what I would suggest is have it be people under 12, because we know nobody under 12 is vaccinated.
Mhm.
I don't think you can realistically segregate off parts of the library. The library has one air handling system. It doesn't work very
Well,
well.
but it's not
just say.
supposed to travel beyond
Yeah, but it does.
6 feet. but the
Okay, maybe the
likelihood of
quiet
catching
reading
it
room we
when
can
you're
say is separate, but the
pretty
rest of
far
it's, yeah. It- The 6 feet concept is more based on droplet, not airborne. And unfortunately, we're talking about an airborne virus still. That's why we talked about the air handling systems before. We never did implement those changes, which I know are ridiculously expensive and would take too long anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if having people wear masks only in the youth area is gonna be effective in any way. Having people under 12 wear masks still makes a lot of sense, though. Because that's still a group that, by and large, has not been, actually entirely, has not been vaccinated.
I would have a problem with that, just because I feel like it should be the parents' call at that point, because they're coming in. So if they feel that their children should wear masks, then they should come in with a mask, and if they don't, then they don't.
But it's the other parents that are the problem, because you're gonna scare away the parents that don't want kids that are unmasked around their kids.
But isn't what you described that it would be only, so like the kids 12 and under, but then would their parents also have masks?
Well, their parents, if they're unvaccinated, would still have masks, correct? Because we're still
Yeah.
requiring anyone unvaccinated to have a mask.
But aren't
Based on the honor
the
system,
people
mhm.
who are vaccinated can still carry it, and therefore we should wear the masks if we're in the youth area?
To a much less degree.
I mean, I wanna wear my mask around children or people. I don't wanna be asked, because if someone is wearing their masks, in our office, we've gone, with proof of vaccination, we had to bring our cards in.
Right.
We could go, maskless, but, you know, if someone's wearing a mask, I will put mine on near them.
I think you have to do all or nothing in the youth area, otherwise, I hear your point, though, it's
Yeah.
hard to enforce, but if my kids don't see me wearing a mask, they're gonna take theirs off, and it's gonna be much harder. So,
I see the point there.
yeah, and so I would be more comfortable if you just like cordoned off that whole area somehow and just said masks. But
I think
seems
it's easier for security to monitor it that way as
Yeah.
well. Because otherwise, yeah. The kids always do what the parents do. They're kind of used to wearing masks, and if they see, you know, beyond the yellow duct tape, they're gonna wear their mask in from the front door and go right to the youth area anyway.
And then could we identify a study room, so when this couple comes in, then she could go to the stacks, and then he could be in the room, and still she could bring him things and say, which ones do you want to take out, and then take him back to the car?
What about the quiet reading room?
Huh.
Please, go ahead.
One of the things that we'll be discussing tomorrow is, and that I've spoken to my managers about, is what we'd like to try to open. And it's kind of, we have to think this through, but if they wanted to open anything, it would probably be the quiet reading room.
Mhm.
They do not want to open study rooms at this time, because they're going to be short-staffed at the desk, and to oversee that is kind of complicated.
I see.
But not that they don't want to open the study rooms, but that would probably be a little further down the line when we get everybody. We're still hiring a lot of people right now, and getting it, you know, so we're confident that we can cover the desk, but we've also told them if there's only one person at that desk, that's okay. If you have to put a sign out, you know, in an attempt to get open all the hours we were before.
So you're saying that those people who wrote the letter then can go in the youth services area and be,
I don't think they'd come at all. In other words, if they saw that people weren't wearing masks.
oh,
It
they're just
wouldn't
gonna
be.
stop,
I honestly
okay.
think that, you know,
Not even having a room where they could go,
No,
they
I
wouldn't
don't
come.
think so. I think it was at that
Okay.
time that they'll say, could you go going in with
Yeah.
everybody, you're standing in the same areas and stuff like that.
Okay, that's the only reason I was saying that was for, then, because they're not the only ones who are immune compromised, and I thought other people might want to use it too.
Right, no,
Yeah,
that's a
okay.
good idea.
And one thing I wanted to point out with the study room, at Lake Villa, they opened their study rooms recently, and the director there thought they would see this increase in traffic, and they saw a very minimal increase in traffic. It doesn't seem like that's I mean, I'm sure there are people in our community that would love for us to reopen the study rooms, but right now with our staffing, that's challenging for the time being.
Well, I think the other thing that we're talking about, bringing up to the managers meeting tomorrow, is adding some more seating, okay? And maybe in some places put more than one chair in case that's like a family table, or that's a, people can, we haven't talked about it, that's for tomorrow, but that was another thing that we'd like to add some more seating. One of the things that's working very well is the carols. Because they're one person at a time doing that, and opening, and I know Kevin would have a lot of thought about this, because all we have to figure out where all this furniture goes to get out of the quiet reading room, but we think we can, and we even think we can put some soft furniture back, like put one in a corner and one in the other corner way in the back and stuff like that. So, but it'll be interesting moving all that furniture up. I know Kevin's got some ideas on this.
Yeah, and what's really interesting too is I sent an all-staff email today to, reminding staff there's a board meeting tonight and that we would be talking about this issue, and what I was thinking essentially, and I said, really the subject to board feedback, but there's a chance that we may, relax the mask restrictions for patrons, this kind of thing. And I got some replies from staff that I know have been very nervous about COVID and nervous about us opening things up, and they were all supportive. I've not received any. It doesn't mean that there are staff that are will be nervous and opposed to this, but I was surprised by a few people I heard from that said, I think this is the right call at this point in time with the numbers the way they are.
Do we know, I mean, do you guys, I don't know, I don't think legally we know, but do you have a sense, is the staff vaccinated? I mean, do you know, or?
Well, we
Jen today.
yeah, we do you want to?
She just said that what she's looking at, but she thinks that in the process, she, asked for people for copies of cards and stuff, and some of them were emails she hadn't found them all, but only, at that, I think it was 34 out of like 80. But that doesn't mean that more aren't,
Yeah.
so she's putting something out about that, because I know personally that there's some people right now who are going for their second shot, stuff like that, so.
Yeah, it's tough to say because we did, so we were giving paid time off to do it, so we asked staff if you want that, you need to let us know. And so, if someone got it on a Saturday or something, they didn't work, they may not have put that in, so it's hard for us to say. However, with this proposal, if the board wants to go with those OSHA guidelines for staff in staff areas, they will have to, just like at Andrea's firm, they will have to provide proof before we say, okay, you can go without your mask. So we'll at that point have a really good idea, because I imagine, maybe not everybody, maybe there may be some staff that are vaccinated that just want to keep their mask on, but I imagine most staff that are vaccinated will tell us, hey. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As a little added bonus, when we showed them our Vax card, they gave us, I was just looking for it, but I put it somewhere else in my house. They gave us this little
Oh.
Ziploc thing especially designed to hold them. The right exact size, you put it in, it was hard plastic, you zipped it shut, you could even attach it to something to carry it around. So, if you're interested, I could ask them where they got them and send you the resource. But it makes you kind of want to, even if you don't have to, show them the Vax card so you could protect it, because it's very valuable to me, it might be my ticket into a concert or something in the future.
Yeah, and the other thing, more and more, and I'm not that I really don't want to go down this road, but more and more companies are requiring, staff to get the vaccine. There was a law in Texas, I think it was a federal court in Texas that ruled, like a circuit court, that there was a case, it was
That was a hospital case.
Hospital
yes,
case, yeah. And they basically ruled in favor of the hospital, saying yes, the employer can make staff get vaccinated. So there's already, we'll see where that goes, but it seems like now, at least the first, feedback we hear from the courts indicates that, yeah, employers are on firm legal grounds to require staff to do it, so we'll see, but I think this would incentivize a lot of staff that are on the fence for various reasons, to motivate them to, maybe get the vaccine if they haven't yet, so. Because I think that's a better thing to do, because I get people being nervous about a vaccine and all the misinformation that's out there, so I'd rather encourage people than say, you've got to do this, right?
Well, I mean, the good news is the vaccines are clearly working. That's more than evident. You can actually look at case rates in areas that have high vaccination rates versus low, and it is a very visible difference. So, the vaccines work a lot better than the masks do, flat out. To the point where you do not need the masks if you have a vaccine at this point. So that is a fact. The only question is, are our patrons going to be comfortable with that fact? Anyone?
I think it's time. I think what you suggested seems a reasonable step.
All right, so just to recap, June
Get out a
21st
floor
on
diagram.
Monday. If staff have shown to us their proof they're fully vaccinated as defined by OSHA guidelines, they will be allowed to go without mask in staff-only areas. Still, staff will wear a mask on the public areas. The staff that are not vaccinated will still be required to wear masks. With patrons, if they're vaccinated, they can come in without a mask. If they're unvaccinated, they have to wear a mask. And then in the youth areas, we will require masks for patrons. Does that sound good? Just to recap?
Can we allow, because I know patrons can sit in most parts of the youth area, but in the Point, I think, older patrons are not allowed. Can we open that up, at least during this area, in case there are people, no?
I would think that would, I mean, there's policy, you have to change policy.
Well, and right now.
We don't wanna change policy.
It's policy, it's not determined what furniture we're gonna open up in the Point yet, and yeah, I feel like, it's been such a struggle.
Forget I asked.
No, it's
I withdraw my
the thought was
comment.
good, but yeah, based on our experience
There's too
with
much
train, I'd say, but
too many
trained
unintended
patrons, yeah,
consequences.
so.
Ryan, but if staff are vaccinated, it sounded like they always have to wear a mask, or no? If staff
In
show
public areas.
in-
So,
Public
Okay.
areas, yeah. And that's something
Okay.
we could discuss, because you can make an argument, well, why are staff that are fully vaccinated having to wear a mask in public areas? I think at this point, for me, it's mainly just a service issue, because I think that patrons feel more comfortable, because they don't know whether our staff are vaccinated or not, so I think patrons would feel more comfortable interacting with staff with masks. But if the board wants to talk about that, I'm open.
Are the screens staying up?
Yeah, the barriers are still up.
Okay, all right.
my concern with having the patron or having the staff be able to choose one way or the other is that sort of does become a privacy issue for them, because now you know which staff members are and are not vaccinated, and they may not want to broadcast that.
But people choose to wear a mask even if they are vaccinated.
I can tell you, in our office, even though I know people are vaccinated, I
Some are.
know for a fact they're vaccinated, I've seen their card, they're still walking around with masks. So you don't know. Still, I seem to be the odd one out, but,
Yeah. I just kind of feel, and Noreen and I have had a lot of conversations like this, and I think Kevin and I have had conversations like this, where, and this is before vaccinations were so, prevalent or available, but some places you would go in and they wouldn't, by default, would not have masks on, and they might say, oh, you want me to put my mask on, and I just think that's poor service. I just rather would have staff wear a mask for now, and then people feel comfortable, they don't have to have that awkward, interaction with staff. We pride ourselves on service, so I think it's just good service to.
And I think people are still not used to it. A lot of people are still not, they'll say, I just went into the store and the people working there didn't have it on. And so they're still uncomfortable about that. And I know that it was funny, I was in Jules the other night registers were being run by people with masks on were twice as long as the ones that.
Well, that's
So I
interesting.
think that we're just, it'll come, but I don't think
Yeah.
we're there yet. And I do think it sends a good message to the public that we want to protect them.
If it helps at all, my employer is targeting the first week of July to reopen offices without masks.
Okay.
We went this week. It is really weird.
Yeah, you feel so guilty at first.
Okay, so, and that's something, yeah, so maybe that's, and just as a reminder,
Yeah.
you know, to the board, I will not be here. I'll be taking a 2-week vacation from this is the 29th through the 11th or 12th. But obviously, if Noreen feels that, you know, we should have a special meeting to relax that, obviously, I think that could happen. But let's
I
just,
think whatever the staff decides,
yeah.
and that- that's not fine, you know,
Right.
they want- the staff aren't gonna be out there.
Right.
I think the public trusts us. Nobody's here to talk in public comment. They trust us to do our job, so
Yeah, that's true.
I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think we've navigated this whole thing really well, all things considered. I
I'm so
mean-
grateful to be having this discussion of taking masks
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
It's been a long time, so.
I look forward to going somewhere and not having my glasses steam up all the time. Great. All right, are we ready for the budget?
yeah,
Everybody?
let's talk about the
Now, let's
budget.
talk about masks more.
Budget.
Well, I have some good news and some bad news. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So you will notice that the budget has increased. That is because the parking lot project is back on for fiscal year 2021, 2022, because it's going to happen the week of July 12th. Kevin and I met with representatives from the village, the Department of Public Works, Brian Flores from the, what is it? I'm trying to remember what the paving company is. They are the paving company that did the original phase in the front of the library. And we had really good experiences working with Brian Flores and his team. So we're happy that they got the bid again for the village this year. So, so basically because I thought, okay, we don't have to put it in the next fiscal year's budget because it will happen this fiscal year because it was going to happen in June, but now it's July 12th. So I put that in the budget. It's still coming out of special reserve in the grand scheme of things, you know, in terms of our overall fiscal health. There's not a significant difference because either way it was going to come out of the special reserve funds either this year or next year. So, but it does make our budget look worse, you know, when you add another $75,000 to it. But I think that is the only change since I sent out the packet with the budget narrative, which is a draft and is, the numbers should be correct. There may be some grammatical errors, but that's not, you know, gonna be finalized for the public until after the board formally passes the budget, so. Questions, comments, concerns?
Does that mean that the amount we're putting into special reserve from this year's budget is increasing? Okay.
It does not, yeah, because the money that goes in the special reserve comes out of the corporate funds. That parking lot project was always gonna come out of special reserve, so it's
Okay,
not,
perfect.
yeah.
Ryan, you said 75. Do I see that specific number on here anywhere?
It would be in the, if you look at the working budget summary, if you go down to expenditures and you look under 07 special reserve.
Yeah.
It got added into that number under capital equipment. So I
Oh,
think,
okay. The
if you look in the
2/4.
packet, what is it, should be. Get where we're at here. Yeah, so if you look in the packet, it's 171,602, and now it's 246,602. So in the packet, it's page 52, that's the working budget summary I sent on Friday. But then the handout with the updated working budget summary, you'll see that number
Okay.
it's gone up since we added that 75.
Yeah.
Yeah. questions? And as always, I want to thank, all the people that work so hard on this budget. Starting with Doug Weideberg, our business manager, all the managers. Noreen does a tremendous amount with all of her departments, with library services. Kevin does a lot with facilities and a lot of the IT stuff that's in this budget. David for the first time with IT stuff. So, it's a team effort. A lot of people contribute to it. So, I appreciate everyone's hard work on it. And I think we have a great process, and I appreciate the board's guidance on the budget as well. It's good. I enjoy doing the budget with not only the
What?
staff, but the board. I like this, I like this stuff. I like numbers, so it's fun. I'm not a CPA, but I enjoy, when you start talking about GASB and all that kind of crazy stuff, I'm not interested, but this is fun, so.
All right, any other comments, questions?
I move that we approve the budget as submitted.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Oh,
Doesn't matter.
Ann?
Ann.
yeah.
All right, any discussion?
Do we have to vote?
Yeah, let's have a roll call.
Arnold,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Sutton, absent. Linsdau,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have.
That was a very strong.
Okay, next is the meeting schedule. Page 53. I move that the board approve ordinance 2020/2021-8, meeting schedule for fiscal year 2021-2022.
I'll second.
Discussion? You have to have a roll call for this too?
We checked it for,
Because it's ordinance, that's right.
we checked it for religious holidays, right?
Yeah, I think we did.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while since we put this one together.
I thought you told me that though when you were working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Sutton, absent. Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
Maybe I missed my chance, but on the back, on page 54, it has 2020.
Oh,
Oh, good catch.
good catch.
And is there a,
Tentative.
yeah,
Good thing tomorrow we're gonna sign it.
is there a, at some place, do we talk about, or is it in a policy where we say the board meets in the McCullough room?
That's announced each time that we meet.
Okay.
Where we meet.
Where we are,
specifically.
okay. I just didn't
I'm
know.
sure we
if-
covered that because we've had quite a few meetings in this
So it's
room
okay.
over the years, so.
Got it.
Yeah, the biggest thing is with open meeting is you have to post it clearly where you're going to meet. So if we were to post a meeting and, let's say we decided to go on the boardroom and meet tonight, that would be a violation
Violation.
of Open Meetings Act, yeah.
Nor can we move it up 2 hours to
Right.
like avoid public comment
Right.
or something.
Yeah, the only way you might be able to get away with it is if we were talking about something, the board wanted to go to the parking lot to see the parking lot, because we talked about it. If we posted a notice, left someone here, we'd be okay, but if you clearly just go behind closed doors to avoid the public, that's an issue, obviously, so.
Gina, the January date has 2021.
So January.
Do we need to do corrections and
Sorry.
make a new vote?
I don't think so. But just,
Well, some of us have
revising?
voted already, so do we need to correct the
Yeah, I'll-
calendar?
I think it's
Yes.
better just to correct it, just
Yeah.
to be on the safe side.
Correct it and then
even though it's
take a
just
new
the
vote?
enactment date and stuff,
just
yeah.
amend the motion.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'll
if Joe
just
will
withdraw
amend the
the motion
motion
and make
to
a new
as
one.
amended.
Who made the
Okay,
motion?
That's a good idea. As amended.
As amended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who made the motion? Could
I
they
did.
withdraw it?
Joe,
Okay. Can you withdraw that motion and make a new one to approve the calendar as amended?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we just said.
Yeah, that's what we just said.
Oh,
So we have to
okay.
vote again.
Good,
but everything else stays the same.
okay.
Joe moved, I've seconded. We have to
We
vote
left it
again.
all the same, let's have the roll call then.
Capisi,
Aye.
Cotsinis,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Sutton absent, Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
All right. Next is transfer to the reserve fund. Maybe we should look at the dates before.
Yeah, these look.
I had my Bonnie hat on. That's what I was.
You know, by the time I get used to writing the new year,
It's already.
it becomes a new year, a different year.
Yeah, and everyone understands this ordinance, right? So this is an opportunity, if we have accumulated funds at the end of the year, we're by law able to move them into the special reserve fund. And we're able to do that because the board is stated in the past, and that's one of the reasons the 10-year capital plan is so important, because it shows that we have a use for these funds. If we were just hoarding these funds for no good reason, that would be an issue, but that's why we moved them to the special reserve fund, because we're indicating to the community that we need these funds for all of these future big projects, so we're gonna put them here. This is our savings account for these big projects. That's what we're accomplishing here, so.
And there's a very limited number of things you can do out of special reserve. You know, building sites, maintenance,
lots.
capital projects, that sort of thing. Not pay staff for 'em.
Yeah.
Even, I think we can buy books, but only if it's in conjunction with building new space that they're gonna sit in.
Yeah, that's possible, yeah, but.
Okay, who'd like to make the motion?
I move that the board adopt ordinance 2020-2021-9, an ordinance transferring money to the special reserve fund.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay, roll.
Arnold,
Aye.
Sutton absent, Capisi,
Aye.
Cotsinis,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Right,
ayes have it.
all right. Let's see, next we're on page
A lot.
55, 50, oh, 56, sorry.
Yeah, so this one, I think I've only had to put together this ordinance one time. So I wanted to double check with Roger to make sure this was the correct course of action, and it is. So what this is, so you will recall that in the middle of the budget year, the board added funds to the budget for the new go-to system, our new telephone system. At that time, we thought we'd be okay with our appropriation, because when you can only spend what you appropriate. So as an example, let's say we have a really bad year with snow removal, and we go over on the budget on snow removal. Well, the way we kind of, address that without having to go to the board and say, we need more money for snow removal, is we appropriate extra funds, and we explain that to the board, with the monthly financials, that, hey, we went over on snow, we were wrong on our guess, it was a bad year. But we did not appropriate quite enough because we did not anticipate this expenditure. So we need to basically amend the B&A ordinance that the board passed to add enough appropriation to that line for telephone and internet. So we just need to add $1,000. It's probably a little bit more than we need to appropriate, but just to be on the safe side. So what this ordinance does is it would take $1,000 of the appropriations from library supplies, which are under, and it's going to put it into telephone and internet.
What's the new total?
So the actual ordinance is not in the packet.
No, it is not in the packet. It's basically just, it doesn't change it doesn't change the total appropriation at all. It doesn't change because all these lines are in the corporate appropriation, so the total appropriation doesn't change. Basically, we're just shifting
Moving.
$1,000 from library supply to telephone internet. I can look it up exactly though.
My-
Moving
my
it from one
concern is
budgeted item to another.
Do we need an actual, written ordinance, or can we just?
No.
Okay.
We're just going back and referencing 2020-21-4. And we can print it up really quick if you want to take a look.
This has been a rarity over the years for newer board members. I think this might be only the second time that it's happened since I've been on the board.
It is pretty rare. We don't usually have to do it.
Speaking of which, I meant to say something last meeting. Joe has been on the board for 10 years. As of the
Wow.
May 20th board meeting.
Wish we had cake to celebrate or something.
Thank you.
You're turning red, Joe. I didn't know you embarrassed so easily. So it hasn't happened very much, as Joe, who's been on the board longer than me, will.
Only by a few months. Okay,
Well,
but what I thought what he was asking though was, is this ordinance really necessary? And the answer still is yes, correct?
To amend
It
it.
is. So I'll give you the exact answer. So, if you look under the corporate fund, if you look at the, we appropriate, budget and appropriate different numbers on different lines, right? So if you look at library supplies, we appropriated $49,000, and telephone internet, we appropriated $50,000. So we're taking $1,000 from library supplies, so that'll go down to $48,000 for the appropriation, and telephone and internet will go up to $51,000 for appropriation.
Sorry, I'm just not seeing the numbers anywhere. Are the actual numbers of the appropriations anywhere in our packet?
No.
Okay.
No, because this is for next year.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
this was Roger was actually on vacation and just got back to me this afternoon. So,
Plus,
but
appropriation is not the same as the budget.
not the same as the
Right.
budget.
So we need to transfer $1,000 from the appropriation from which line item to which line item?
$1,000 from it's there in section 1. From $1,000 from
Why am I
corporate
not
fund library
seeing
supplies
this?
to corporate fund telephone and
Maybe it's
internet.
in the agenda.
Oh, it's because he's looking,
Are you looking at George? Do you have the
Yes.
handout? The
no, I didn't pass it.
oh,
No, I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
pass it.
I thought
Yes.
everyone had it.
Okay, that explains why I'm confused.
Okay, that's okay. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
So here,
George,
do
it's
we have
right
a
Then
good
you
copy?
want me to walk in? I have them in
Yeah,
the desk.
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Why
yeah.
don't you just pass it, go
We'll just
down
pass,
and show it?
let's
to
pass
them?
it around. Here,
Okay.
yeah, take a- I'm so sorry. I thought everyone had it. That's why.
That's why it confused George, which doesn't happen very often, so thanks,
Okay.
Gina.
It was a test.
Gina, is there anything else from this?
That makes more sense.
It's like the engagement letter from the auditors here?
I'm still waiting to get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Want me to call him?
Well, I'll let you know tomorrow.
Because I'm always usually the one on the other
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, but we've been going back and forth for a while, so it's.
Okay.
But
Can we-
we should have that by now. There's no doubt about that.
We have to fix the date again.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm Bonnie today.
I didn't see it.
Okay,
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
I'll pass it to Maureen.
Just keep passing
Okay,
it.
here you go.
No problem. You can give it to Andrea.
Oh.
Okay, everybody good now?
That does
Andrea?
help.
Yeah, Andrea, can you double check the numbers and the dates on that, please?
Yeah. Why does it say ordinance oh, because it's ordinance, never mind, now I know.
Yeah, that.
Ordinance number 4.
Yeah, it references the ordinance 4, which is the budget appropriation ordinance.
We're good.
Do you want to make the motion? Andrea?
I forgot the ordinance number.
Here it goes, 10.
Okay.
As amended, right? Because we are fixing the dates.
Yes. I move that we pass ordinance number 2020/2021-10 as amended to move $1,000 from corporate fund library supplies to corporate fund telephone and internet appropriations.
I'll second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Sutton absent, Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
My last one is to accept the resignation of Jennifer Chang and declare a vacancy in the Office of Library Trustee. I move that the board approve resolution 2020/2021-6 to accept the resignation of Jennifer Chang and declare a library trustee vacancy.
I'll second.
Discussion?
The resolution number on 57, it looks like it's 1 year. I think the agenda is correct, but that should be 2020, 2021, right?
Why is this one -6 and the appropriation was -10?
This is resolution, the last one was.
Appropriate,
Was
ordinance.
ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it is 2020, 2021/6, that's correct.
So the resolution is incorrect?
The,
Just a year,
Oh,
no,
well,
Just
the
your
motion
motion.
was correct, but the document is not.
yeah,
I
it
see.
should, it should
Got
be
it.
resolution 2020, 2021-6.
Do you want to make your motion again so we know what you're moving for?
All right, I move to approve resolution 2020/2021-6 as amended to accept the resignation of Jennifer Chang and declare a library trustee vacancy.
I'll second.
thank you.
Discussion? All right, roll call.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Linsdau,
Aye.
Sutton absent, Beckwith,
Aye.
ayes have it.
All right, items for next month's meeting. Anything?
Should we wait till the August COW meeting to talk about the resignation? I mean, not a resignation, to talk about how we're going to go about fulfilling that role, or do we want to, I mean, it's a lot for a board meeting.
It's already
Oh, it's already all done?
Yeah, it's posted.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
The
it's posted.
documents.
Oh, we
are-
talked about it last
Yeah,
time.
yes,
Yeah.
I remember now.
yeah, it's
We
in
should
the
have
works.
applications.
I can't remember what the deadline date was.
July
12th?
12th, yeah.
12, okay, all right.
It's in here somewhere.
Okay, so any other things for next time?
For next board meeting, I'd like to get the financial statements approved, because our next board meeting is in July. We have no committee of the whole. I want the June statements approved in July so that our auditors can get to work, you know.
So next time we'll have May and June then.
I would like that to be
Okay.
May and June.
Yeah,
Which,
I know
gotta
that.
let Lauterbach and Amon know.
Yeah.
Because we used to do the previous month at the board meeting.
Yeah, I know that Doug tells me that at the end of the, I'm just saying that the Lauterbach and I will probably tell us, oh, it's the end of the fiscal year, but we'll push them on it to get it,
Okay.
because,
If we can't, then we'll do it, you know, if we can't do it at the board meeting, I would like then a special session at the August committee of the whole, maybe following, first or following, for the sole purpose of approving those statements. So maybe better to do following, we could discuss them during committee of the whole, and then because I want them finished so that our auditors don't say they're waiting for us to approve the final.
yeah,
For June financials.
Yeah, May and June.
yeah. I think ideally you're right, though, if we could get the June statements, that would be
Yeah,
great.
I mean,
for
every
July.
month we used to do the previous month. Finance committee would meet the Thursday before Tuesday, and then any corrections would be done in between, and then we'd approve them at the Tuesday board meeting, right?
Right, that's correct.
Okay, so I also had for CW, which we canceled, that CD updates.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put that.
Mhm.
And I also had parking lot updates. Yeah, well, that'll be,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
parking, yeah.
Parking lot and lighting updates.
yeah, so just, one thing I should have mentioned about the parking lot is that they're kind of allocating 3 days. He said it could take a day and a half, it could take 3 days, it just obviously depends, so we'll see.
It could take 2 weeks like it did last time.
Let's hope not, but it could, I guess.
And you decided we would not do any policy work.
Correct.
Yeah, we're way caught up, so we don't need to.
taking a break.
Great, yeah, because there's enough to discuss with those items, with the tentative VNA, so there's plenty to do at the regular board meeting.
Okay. No other meeting items? Cool. Anyone want to speak in public forum?
I do, and only because of the fact that we aren't going to have a committee the whole evening, so this will seem far down the line, and we'll see some real old. The last week at the library has been, I just wanted to share this with you, has been enormously emotional. Last Wednesday, Meg, our head of circulation, left for Punjab. We were with Kathy Silvey, who was the third place supervisor with that. Then on Friday, Miss Patty, we had a retirement for her, and today we had a retirement for Jan Marsh. And I have to say, that's the most interesting way we do it, because we can't eat. So we have all the food, and then people just take it home with them. So, but each one was nice. Nice today with Jan's. Steve Barrow came, former director. Pat Lazinski sent a message. Ryan spoke and gave her the ABCs of Jan. It was great.
Debbie Hoffman was there as well.
Was she? That's great.
Yeah.
Jan spoke, and it was just really, she was really touched, and I think it's very hard, because we used to make real big deals of these, and so we did today, everybody went home with big chunks of cake and jewel and stuff like that, but it was interesting, and it was neat, and people came in, and some people were invited from, who had left already, to come back and things like that. So they have been very well done, and the staff who worked on putting those together were great. It was grab and go kind of stuff. People stood around, and we did for Patty. Patty was crazy about the Beatles, right? So they did a thing of all pictures about Patty, and it looped, and in the middle of all of them, it would have like a picture of the Beatles, where they were all looking at a newspaper, and it would say, "My God, my gad, lads, Miss Patty's retiring," like it was in the paper. And today Eric put together another one with all of the pictures of Jan and seeing her and all of her vintage things and all that stuff. It was great fun, but it's hard to do it, but we pulled it off. I like the other ones better when everybody comes and it's not at 10 in the morning or.
Yeah. This was a staff-only event, former staff. It was hats off to Jan, so we all had hats. Yeah.
Ryan loved it. She loves
hats. Yeah. So it was nice, and one of the things that's evident with those events is that I've worked at a lot of different libraries, and the culture here is really special, and that it was special when I came here, and it continues to be special. It's very much that's one of our core staff core values is family, because it really is. I mean, the fact that people like Steve Barrow and Debbie Hoffman can come back to celebrate with us, it just makes it a really special place. So
How is Steve?
He's doing great.
Good.
Cool.
He stayed home and homeschooled Luke this year because he wanted to have that advantage, and Steve's not really one, but he did real well with the virtual school.
How old are the boys now?
he told me Stevie's 13. Yeah, and I think is the other one 10 or
Luke must be about 8 or 9.
maybe it's
Oh
9 or
my
13.
God.
Yeah.
That went so fast for me.
Yeah.
And Lily's working full-time, so it's worked out really well. So it was really nice to see him, and then have that continuum of all these directors who had some thoughts about Jan.
Nobody knows programs like the library.
Miss Patty sent out at the end of it, some of you have seen her virtual story time. The moment she left, she said to me as she walked out, she said, "You're going to get an email." And she sent this to her staff and to some other people. She did a story time goodbye. Which is what I wish for you to the staff. Oh man, we're just weeping. It was just beautiful. And she popped it, and I'm in the bottom bunk of the bunk bed, and can hear the Springs talking just the same to us. It was really emotional.
That's
cool.
Very good.
Thousands and thousands of children have heard her story times, including my own, probably also Catherine's and Joe's, and George, yours too, maybe.
Mhm.
All of our children have benefited from Miss Patty's stories.
Actually, I think George's kids came in to have
They did. They were not happy that she was leaving, but yeah, they came in to say goodbye.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Noreen.
Announcements besides what's here?
I will announce too that we do have some cake left over from the party, so in honor of those amazing careers and 10 years on the board for the show and whatever else we want to celebrate. I don't know that we have a gluten-free, unfortunately.
No,
but I'll make
that's
it up to
okay.
you.
Sorry.
No need.
So take a piece home if
Oh my
if you want a piece of cake. Some of you have children at home. I'm sure they would love a piece of cake. So
Cake's off our
I don't want to
list.
share with them. I don't want to share.
There, it looks like
well,
there's
it's a double-edged
plenty.
sword, right? Because then you have to you
Just leave it
pay
in your
for it
car
as a
and take it to
parent
work
if you
They're out.
give them cake.
Catherine, I
It might
think
be
you
in
could
bed.
take several pieces. Look at all that she's.
Oh my gosh,
Stop,
chocolate.
stop, Noreen.
Yeah, gee.
Choices, if you like chocolate, or if you like red velvet, or if you like
Wow.
butter cake, you want you to pick what you like.
All right. I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, 8:01.